first cry of a baby is supposed to be loud, sharp, full of life. But when Nina was born, the delivery room was too quiet. The nurse frowned. Why isn't she crying? The doctor was about to reach for the suction tube, thinking something had gone wrong, when Nina yawned. A long, lazy yawn. Then she smiled. And then she slept. Right there on the warm delivery bed, while the nurse gently patted her tiny back, Nina had drifted into a deep, quiet slumber. She's okay, the nurse finally laughed. This one will love sleep. Her mother, Amanda, holding back tears of joy, chuckled too. She had just given birth to her first child in the heart of Omalicha, a noisy city where even midnight sounded like rush hour. But little did she know, that first sleepy smile was a sign of the storm to come. Nina was not like other children. When babies in the compound wailed in hunger, Nina snored softly in her wrapper. When toddlers learned to crawl, Nina curled up and slept beside her toys. As a toddler, she slept during family visits, at birthday parties, and once even while a live band played outside her window during her naming anniversary. Her mother tried everything. Cold baths, loud clapping, banging spoons on pots, shouting her name again and again like a prayer. Nothing worked. If Nina wanted to sleep, she would sleep. At age 5, her mother enrolled her in day-spring nursery. On her first day, while others played with plastic blocks and sang Twinkle Twinkle, Nina found a corner behind the bookshelf and fell asleep. By the time the teacher found her, she had missed snack time, music time, and was drooling on a paper butterfly. In primary 3, her classmates gave her a name, the Sleep Ambassador. It started as a joke, but the name stuck like glue. "Where is our ambassador?" the teacher would ask when Nina dozed off during math. "She's on a national sleep mission," one class clown would reply, and the whole class would laugh. But her mother never laughed. "You can't keep doing this, Nina," Amanda would shout at home, yanking open the windows, letting in the noisy honking and shouting from the street outside. "The world is not waiting for you." But Nina just blinked sleepily. "I didn't mean to sleep, Mama. It just happened." By age 13, Nina's sleep had become a real problem. She could fall asleep on the bus, at the hair salon, in church, during meals, and once while crossing the road. Yes, crossing the road. She was halfway across when she stopped, leaned slightly on a traffic pole, and shut her eyes. A woman selling oranges screamed, "Ah! Wake her up before she dies." A bike man pulled over and tapped her shoulder. Nina blinked, confused. "Did I sleep?" "You nearly slept into heaven," the bike man snapped. Her mother cried that night. It was no longer funny. Doctors ran tests. "She's fine," they all said. One doctor suggested, "Maybe it's stress." Another said, "Maybe she's just gifted in rest." But none had answers. And sleep, it seemed, had become Nina's shadow. Nina was now 18. Tall, beautiful, with smooth dark skin and a calm face that always looked like she just finished dreaming. She wore simple clothes, Ankara skirts, neat blouses, and flat slippers. She walked slowly, talked slowly, slept quickly. By this time, Amanda had stopped complaining. She was tired, but she still prayed for her daughter. Every morning, she sprinkled water on Nina's face before work, whispering, "Oh Lord, let today be different." They lived in a busy part of Omalicha called Obeland Heights. The buildings were tall and close together. Cars honked. Hawkers shouted. Generators hummed. Life was noisy. Fast. But in their small third-floor apartment, Nina's room remained peaceful. It was her castle. Her bed, her throne. Nina had finished secondary school, barely passing, and stayed mostly indoors now. She should learn a skill, Amanda said. So Nina tried hairdressing. She slept while braiding. She tried tailoring. She slept on the pedal. She tried baking. She slept in front of the hot oven and nearly burnt the shop down. Everyone was afraid. Not of Nina, but for her. What if she marries and burns down her husband's house? What if she sleeps and forgets her baby somewhere? What kind of future does a sleep ambassador have? Even Nina began to wonder the same thing. Amanda begged her one Sunday, "Please, just come to church. You need prayer." Nina sighed. "If I sleep there, you'll shout." Amanda shook her head. "I won't shout. I'll just pray harder." So Nina wore a long blue dress, simple sandals, and tied a white scarf around her hair. She looked lovely, soft, and calm as ever. Church was full that day. Praise was loud. People danced. Pastors shouted about destiny and fire. Nina slept. She dozed off during the third worship song, leaning gently against the wall at the back. And that was when he noticed her. Sam. Sam was new in town. He had moved to Omalicha from a quiet town called Ilugwu, hoping to start fresh after losing his job. He found peace in church. He liked sitting at the back, far from the shouting drums. That day he saw her, this strange girl sleeping while others clapped and shouted, "Amen!" He smiled. She didn't look sick. She looked peaceful, like an angel dreaming in the middle of noise. After church, he found her still leaning on the wall, her scarf slipping off. He gently adjusted it. Nina opened her eyes slowly. Their eyes met. She gasped. "Sorry, I slept again." He chuckled. "You sleep well." She blinked, embarrassed. "It's a problem. I don't mean to." He nodded. "It doesn't make you bad." That moment started something. They talked after service. They met again the next Sunday. Then again. Soon they were sharing jokes, sitting together in church, and walking home slowly through the noisy streets. Amanda was shocked the day Nina said, "There's someone I like." "Does he know you sleep like a goat on a warm mat?" she asked. "Yes," Nina smiled. "He says I look peaceful." Amanda shook her head. "He must be blind. Or in love." Sam didn't care that Nina was sleepy. He found her presence calming. But his friends warned him. "Bro, think well, oh. You want to marry someone who can sleep during labor?" "I love her," Sam replied simply. They got married after a year. A small wedding. A lot of laughter. Amanda cried quietly. "Let God be with them," she whispered. They moved into a small apartment in a newer part of the city called Sun Hill Flats. Sam worked as a mechanic. Nina stayed home. They were happy. First. Then came the troubles. Burnt rice. Forgotten laundry soaked for days. Missing gas cylinder because she dozed and left the back door open. And one terrible day, baby Junior crawled out of the living room while Nina slept. He made it all the way to the stairs. A neighbor screamed. People rushed. Sam came running from work, holding his chest. That night he didn't sleep. Nina wept. "I'm trying," she whispered. "But sleep is like wind. It comes and takes me." Sam sighed. "I love you, Nina. But I'm afraid." And in the morning he said what she feared most. "Go to your mother's house. For now." The bus ride back was quiet. Nina stared out the window as the city moved fast, too fast for her tired eyes. She felt like a failure. Amanda opened the door. "He sent you back?" Nina nodded. "I warned you," her mother whispered. "But you didn't listen." "I want to change," Nina said softly. Amanda raised an eyebrow. "Are you ready to fight your sleep?" Nina nodded, though her eyes were already getting heavy. "Then you must do something mad," Amanda said, standing tall. "Apply for a job you cannot sleep in." "What kind of job is that?" Amanda smiled. "A job that wakes you up." And with that, the sleep ambassador made a decision. One that would shock the city. Nina didn't know what scared her more, being sent away by Sam or the thought that maybe he was right. She sat on the floor of her mother's small kitchen in Oberland Heights, holding a plate of cold jollof rice, staring at the peeling walls. The fan above made soft noises, but the only real sound in the room was her own deep sighs. Amanda stood over the sink, arms folded, watching her daughter with eyes that held both worry and disappointment. "So you want to change, ABI?" Amanda asked. Nina nodded. "You know what change looks like?" Nina shrugged weakly. "No more sleeping?" Amanda shook her head. "No. Change is pain. Pain that pulls the sleep out of your eyes. Are you ready for that kind of pain?" Nina swallowed hard. Her lips trembled, but she nodded again. Then her mother did something Nina would never forget. She walked to the corner of the room, opened a small, rusted drawer, and brought out an old flyer. Paper was wrinkled and torn at the edges. It read, "Now hiring night guard, stay awake, stay alive. Security Kings, Sun Hill Branch." Amanda handed her the paper. "Go tomorrow. No excuses." The next morning, Nina stood outside Security King's tall iron gate. She wore a brown skirt, a faded yellow blouse, and borrowed flat shoes that pinched her toes. Her heart pounded. Sweat covered her back. She hadn't slept well. And for the first time in her life, she didn't want to. She was scared if she slept, she might never wake up from this chance. "Next!" a loud voice barked from inside. Nina entered. 3 men sat behind a long plastic table in a hot, dusty office. "You want to be a night guard?" the one in the middle asked. "Yes, sir," Nina replied. "You're too soft. Too gentle. You don't look like someone who can stay awake all night." "I will learn. Do you have experience?" "No." The man sighed and scribbled something. "You know this job is not beans, right? Armed robbers, wild dogs, harsh cold, and no sleeping." "I won't sleep." One of the men scoffed. "Everybody says that. Then we catch them snoring beside a generator." Nina looked down. She couldn't argue. But before she left, she whispered something. "Please. I need this job. I need to prove I can change." The man in the middle looked at her again. This time longer. Then he said, "Come tonight. 7 p.m. sharp. Trial shift. If you sleep, you're gone." Nina stood at the edge of a construction site. Tall blocks, long shadows, and strange noises filled the night. Mosquitoes danced around her ears. The air smelled of wet cement and old oil. She was given a small touchlight and a baton. "This is where thieves enter from," the head guard said, pointing at a broken fence corner. "Shine light there every 30 minutes. Nina nodded. For the first hour, she was alert. Second hour, her feet hurt. Third hour, her knees shook. By the fourth hour, her eyes started to close. "No," she whispered to herself. She slapped her cheeks, jumped in place, sang a song out loud. Then she remembered something her mother once told her. "Pain will chase sleep. Look for pain." Nina reached into her pocket and pulled out a small metal coin. She pressed it against her wrist. Hard. Sharp. The sting helped. She stayed awake till morning. When the supervisor returned, he stared at her in surprise. "You're still here." Nina nodded, smiling weakly. He gave her a form. "Come back tomorrow. Welcome to Security Kings." Nina's job wasn't easy. The site was wide and lonely. Every creak of metal or scurry of rats made her jump. But she stayed awake. Every night. For the first time in her life. She tied her scarf tight, walked up and down, poured cold water on her face, and sang songs in her head. She met other night guards, strong women, quiet men, and even a one-legged man named Papa Tony, who laughed like thunder. "You," he said when he met her. "You look like someone who sleeps with her eyes open." "I used to," Nina smiled. "Then you're in the right place. This job will fix that." While Nina changed, life at Sam's apartment continued. Baby Junior was now walking, talking. He called Sam Papa and sometimes stood by the window pointing at the sky saying, "Mama? Mama." Sam didn't know how to answer. He still loved Nina, but he was scared. Every time he remembered finding Junior crawling near the stair edge, his heart twisted. One evening he looked at Junior, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "We'll see her soon. Let's wait a little more." 3 months passed. Then 6. Nina worked every night. By day, she washed clothes, cleaned floors, and sometimes helped Amanda at her canteen. People in the neighborhood noticed. "Is that not the girl who used to sleep during morning sweeping?" one woman asked. "Yes," said another. "But look at her now, carrying cement bags and mopping gutters." One night, as Nina stood guard, a group of drunk boys tried to enter the site through the broken fence. "Hey, get out!" Nina shouted, shining her touchlight. The boys laughed. "Fine girl like you, come join us, Jair." She raised her baton. "I said leave before I call the police." The boys cursed but left. The next morning, the site manager clapped for her. "You're a real guard now," he said. One evening, as she helped her mother close the canteen, a car pulled up. It was a small gray car with scratched doors. Sam stepped out. Nina froze. He looked different. Tired. Slimmer. I came to check on you," he said. She looked down. "I'm still working night shift." "I know," he replied. "I heard." There was silence. "I didn't leave because I hated you," he said softly. "I was scared." "I know," Nina said. "I was scared too. But I'm not scared anymore." He smiled. "I can see that." Then he handed her a small paper bag. Inside was a tiny blue shoe. Junior's. He picked it this morning and kept saying, "Mama shoe. Mama shoe." Nina's eyes filled with tears. She clutched the shoe to her chest. "Is he okay?" she asked. "Yes." "Does he still remember me?" "Yes. He says goodnight to your picture every night." Her voice shook. "Can I see him?" Sam nodded. "Soon." Very soon. Then he walked back to his car. As it drove off, Amanda stepped out from the canteen shadows. She had heard everything. "You're becoming a woman," she said. "A real woman." Nina smiled faintly. "A woman who stays awake." 1 month later, Nina was promoted at work. She now managed 2 new female guards and was paid extra for mentoring. That night, after her shift, she returned home and found an envelope on her bed. There was no name. Just one word, "come." Inside, a note in Sam's handwriting. "Junior turns 2 this weekend. He's walking, laughing, dancing. But he needs his mother. I'll be at the church. Same place we met. 10 a.m. Come if you're ready." Nina read it over and over again. Then she folded it carefully and tucked it into her shirt. She was ready. That Saturday, Nina wore her cleanest dress, a green ankara with yellow flowers. She braided her hair in 2 tight plaits, rubbed shea butter on her face, and looked at herself in the mirror. Gone was the girl who slept through life. In her place stood a woman, still gentle, still calm, but stronger. Amanda walked in, holding a bowl of rice. "Eat before you faint in church." Nina chuckled. "I'll be fine." Amanda hugged her tightly. "Whatever happens, you've made me proud." Then she whispered in her ear, "Remember who you are now. You're not just my daughter. You're a lioness who learned to stay awake." Church bell rang slowly. Nina stood at the entrance of the church where her story had truly begun, where she first met Sam, where she slept through her first prayer, and where love had found her. The same red and white tiled floor greeted her feet. The same wooden benches stood in rows. But she was no longer the sleepy girl with messy hair and confused eyes. She was different now. Her heart pounded. Not from fear, but from hope. She looked around. And then she saw them. Sam stood near the altar, wearing a simple white shirt and dark blue trousers. He held Junior, who wore a yellow shirt and tiny brown sneakers. The moment Junior saw her, he pointed. "Mama!" The word shot through the air like an arrow. Sam turned. Their eyes met. Felt like the wind had paused to listen. Nina stepped forward slowly. Junior wriggled in his father's arms. Sam let him down. The little boy ran with clumsy steps, arms wide open, and Nina dropped to her knees to catch him. "Mama! Mama!" he giggled. Nina held him close and cried into his soft, curly hair. "I'm here, baby. Mama's here now." Sam stood still, not sure whether to speak or let the moment last forever. After church, they walked together. No one said much. Words felt too small. They stopped at a quiet restaurant near Palm Street. It was empty. Just them. They sat in a corner. Junior sat between them, chewing on Puff Puff and smiling like nothing had ever gone wrong. Sam finally spoke. "You look healthy. Strong." Nina smiled gently. "I had to be. The job changed me." "You still working night shifts?" "Yes. 4 now." Sam nodded. "I'm sorry, for sending you away." "I know. You had to." They paused. "I didn't stop loving you," he said. She looked at him. "I didn't stop either. I just had to learn how to love myself too." He took her hand across the table. "I want you to come home." Nina froze. Her heart jumped, but something held her back. I want to, but let's take it slow." "Please." Sam nodded. "Okay. Slow is fine. Just don't disappear again." That weekend, Nina visited their home for the first time in 7 months. Nothing had changed. The couch still had the coffee stain from Junior's juice spill. Clock still ticked loudly. The wall still held their wedding photo, Nina with her sleepy smile, Sam with his curious eyes. She sat on the couch. Junior sat on her lap. "I missed this house," she said softly. Sam came out of the kitchen with a tray of pepper soup. He placed it on the table and sat beside her. "We can start again," he said. "But this time with honesty." Nina nodded. And patience. They ate together like old times. But deep in Nina's heart, something was stirring. 3 weeks later, Nina returned to her job for a short weekend shift. She had promised Sam she would reduce her hours, but she needed to complete her commitment. She left Junior with Sam and took the bus to the site. It rained that night. Wind blew hard across the site walls. Trees danced like shadows with no feet. Nina wore a raincoat and patrolled. Around 3 a.m. she heard footsteps. Soft. Careful. Wrong. She turned. A figure stood by the broken fence, holding a crowbar. "Who's there?" she shouted. The man ran. Nina chased. Her torchlight flickered. She slipped on wet mud but got up and kept running. The thief jumped a wall, dropping his bag. Nina picked it up. Inside were wires, pliers, and stolen phone parts. In the morning, she handed it to her boss. "Brave," he said. "Foolish, but brave." She smiled weakly. "I'm just tired of running away from my life." That evening, as she returned home, she opened the door and met something she didn't expect. Sam was angry. Junior had fallen down the stairs earlier that day. A small bruise sat on his forehead. "He was looking for you," Sam shouted. "I turned my back for 2 minutes." Nina rushed to Junior and hugged him tightly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Sam's face was red. "You promised. You said you'd reduce your shifts. I was finishing my last one. I didn't know." "Stop making excuses," he snapped. She stood slowly, eyes narrowing. "I'm not the same Nina you sent away," she said. "I work now. I fight for us. But at what cost? Sam yelled. I need a wife who is present. A mother who's here. The room went silent. Junior began to cry softly. Sam sat down, covering his face. Nina stood still, frozen. Then she whispered, Maybe I came back too soon. Sam looked up, shocked. What are you saying? I'm saying I need space. To think. To breathe. To decide who I really want to be. Nina moved out the next day. Not to her mother's house, but to a room she rented in Eastline Junction. It was small, dusty, and had no fan. But it was hers. She worked day shifts now. No more night patrol. She enrolled in a training course on customer service. She wanted to work at a hotel front desk. Something stable. Something professional. The night she wrote in her diary. Today I saw Junior at the clinic. He was laughing. He didn't see me. But I smiled anyway. Another page read. Sam sent me a message. Just a heart emoji. I didn't reply. Not yet. And another. I dreamt I was wide awake. No bed. No sleep. Just stars. It felt good. One Sunday, Amanda came to visit. She brought boiled yam and pepper sauce. She sat on Nina's small mattress and looked around. You like this place? She asked. Nina nodded. It's not much, but it's mine. Amanda sniffed the air. Smells like rat. They both laughed. Then Amanda grew serious. Do you still love Sam? Yes. Do you miss your baby? Every hour. Then why are you still here? Nina looked at her mother. Because I want to return as someone new. Not just someone awake, but someone ready. Amanda reached into her bag and pulled out a small chain. It was Nina's baby bracelet from when she was born. Amanda placed it in her hand. Then make your choice, daughter. And don't sleep on it. Weeks turned into months. Nina completed her training. She got a job at Coral View Hotel as a front desk officer. She wore a sharp navy blue uniform with a name tag that read, Nina Front Desk Executive. Her shift was 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. She greeted guests with a smile, organized bookings, and managed complaints. She was always alert, always awake. One evening, she got a visitor. Sam. He stood in the hotel lobby, holding Junior in his arms. Nina blinked. What are you doing here? Checking in, he smiled. Just for one night. Maybe two. Maybe forever if you'll have us. Nina looked at her son. Junior smiled. Mama! Sam placed a wrapped box on the counter. Nina opened it. Inside was a wristwatch. A golden one. The note inside read, For the girl who used to sleep through time. You've mastered it now. Nina burst into tears.